Okay. So let me adjust this so that what you see is what I'm writing. And that's upside down. There we go. And with that too, if I ever start writing and I go out of bounds, like I'm writing on the paper, but you can't see where it is, y'all interrupt me because sometimes I'll be looking out here and I won't see it. Okay? All right. Sorry for all the delay, but here we're finally getting started. Today, unfortunately, is going to be just a lot of vocabulary. It is a lot of us just laying out the words we need to be able to do geometry. Okay. First, and this is a review from algebra, but anybody know what this is called? Coordinate plane, graph, both of those are true, okay? What is this part called? Right, so this is the coordinate plane, the whole thing. This is the x-axis, which means this is what? Y-axis. What is this point right here called? The origin. Good job. Okay. If I ask you to graph the point -3, 4, what would you do? Where do you start? Right? Which origin means beginning. It means where you start. So that's why they name it the origin, because when you're graphing things, you start at the origin. Then what is -3? -3 is called the x coordinate, which means from the origin on the x-axis, we go 3 in the negative direction. So right there, correct? Then this is the y-coordinate. Okay? The y-coordinate means we go up 4 in the y direction. And that would be the point 3, -4. Okay? Again, this is all supposed to be a review, but I'm just trying to refresh your memory. This is called a point. It's also called an ordered pair. Now, one of the good things about math is a lot of times the word itself will tell you what the words mean will tell you its mathematical meaning. What does it mean? Well, pair means 2, right? So what would it mean for there be an ordered pair? What does ordered mean? If you had a set of numbers that was ordered and a set of numbers that was not ordered, what would be different about them? Okay? If your room was ordered, how would that be different if your room was not ordered? Right. If your room is in order, or if your room is ordered, then everything is in its right spot, right? Everything has a place. If it's out of order or not ordered, it would be mixed up. Is the point 3, -4 the same as the point -4, 3? No. -4, 3 would be, you go over 4 up 3, would be over here, right? So it's called an ordered pair because the x-coordinate has to go first, the y-coordinate has to go second. The order matters, so it's an ordered pair. Okay? Yes. I didn't mean to. Thank you. If y'all made the same mistake I did, change that. That is -3, 4. That's a good example of why it's an ordered pair. The things have to go in the right order or you're talking about the wrong point. So since I mixed those up, it was talking about the wrong point. I made a mistake, which I tend to do this early in the morning. So you keep your eyes open, please. All right? So now let's look at these 3 points, A, B, and C. If I ask you, are points A, B, and C collinear? Would you say yes or no? Why would you say no, Jesse? I think you're right. You're just one word's a little wrong in how you explained it. Anybody else know? I know you're right. They are not collinear. Well, let's determine what collinear means. Well, what does linear mean? If a graph is linear, what is it? What does linear look like? What does that word look like? Or what word is part of it? Come on, y'all. The word linear, what word does that look like? Line, okay? Linear means a straight line. If a graph is linear, that means the graph is a straight line, okay? What does co mean? Think about words that have co in it. What does cooperate mean? Work together, okay? What does company mean? Like if you had company at your house. What does it mean if you had company over? Do y'all use that word that way? It means you have people over to your house. You are together, okay? I hear this a lot because I'm a new parent, but some parents choose to co-sleep with infants and some choose to not co-sleep. What does co-sleep mean? In the same bed, okay? So think about what that means in common. Cooperate means to work together. Company means to have people at your house. Co-sleep means to sleep in the same bed. What do all those kind of have in common? They're together, right? Coexist means to exist together. Codependent means you depend on each other, right? So co means together. So what do you think collinear means?
They're in a straight line.
They're all together on one straight line. So are the points A, B, and C collinear? No. You can draw a line. You could say A and B are collinear, right? They're on a straight line. B and C are collinear. They're on a straight line. And A and C are, but there is no line that goes through all three of them. Okay? All right. One other thing. Now, this is strange. and you're going to think I'm crazy for how I explain this, but in geometry, there are 3 terms with no exact definition. Okay? Now what I mean by that is you can't use a word in its own definition. Like if I ask you to define the word stand, you wouldn't say it's when you're standing. Because you don't know what stand means, you don't know what standing means, right? You can't use a word in its own definition. So there are 3 words in geometry that technically there's not a good definition for them. The first one is point. How could you define point? You would say it's a point. You know, there's no real, it's an exact location, right? Like if we're talking about a point in this room, if you look at the tip of my marker right here, that is a point. That's a place in this room, right? So a point is a point with exact location, okay? You can't really define it. Okay, the next one is line. Now you can kind of define a line if you've defined point. A line is a collection of points in a straight line. Well, there you used line in its own definition though. But right, you see what I'm saying though? You know what a line is. So all of these, we know what they are, we're just not good at defining them. And the last one is, okay, now a point, before I get to the last one, it is a one single location, right? A line is a straight line of points, but a line is never ending. It goes forever in one direction and forever in the other direction, okay? A line is an infinite line. And the last one is plane. Now, plane is kind of like a two-dimensional line, okay? If you were to think about this sheet of paper that I'm writing on here and think of it as it went forever in all 4 directions, okay? So it's not just this sheet of paper. It goes forever that way, forever this way, forever this way, forever this way, right? That would be a plane. Okay, it's a flat surface that extends infinitely in all directions. Okay, so those are kind of our 3 undefinable terms. Well, we're going to accept that you can't define them, and then we're going to use those words to define all of the words coming up. Okay? Let's see what else. Now, if you're going to name a point, let's talk about how you name these. Okay? A point is named by either listing the ordered pair or with a capital letter. So you could say, examples. You could say the point 5, -3. Right? And everybody would know what you mean there, right? You'd start at the origin, go right 5, down 3, and that would be the point you're talking about. But if you had this diagram, you could say point Y. And what would that mean? If you said point Y, that would mean this specific dot right here that's labeled Y. Okay? We don't know the ordered pair because it's not placed in a coordinate plane, but we know it's that point. All right? Would it make sense to say point XY? No. It can't be XY. A point is one single point, right? So point you name with one capital letter. Okay? Lines there's two ways to name it. You can name it with a single lowercase letter or by 2 points on the line. Okay? So if I wanted to talk about that line, what are some names I could give it? Well, is there a single lowercase letter that's labeling this line? M. So we could call this line M if we wanted to. Now I don't see any other lowercase letters, so we can't, that's the only way we could do it with a lowercase. Do we know 2 points that are on this line? What are 2 points that are on the line? R and V. So we could call this RV with a line over it with arrows in both directions. Now, if you see that, how do you read that? If that were in a book and I were reading out loud, what would I say right here? You know? Line RV. Okay? Could I also call this line VR? Yes. Line RV and line VR are the same thing because it goes forever in both directions. What's another thing I could name it? I could name it line XV. What else? RX. What else? There's 2 more. You can call it line XR and line VX. Okay? Lastly, how to name a plane. Okay, you name a plane with 3 non-collinear points on the plane or a capital script which is a fancy way to say cursive letter. Okay, pretend I can draw, and that's just a straight line. Okay. Okay, so there's two ways you could name this plane. You could call it plane R, because in the corner there's a cursive R that's capital. Now, remember, a plane goes forever in all directions, right? So we draw it as this little shape, but it really extends forever in all four directions. Okay, there's not another capital letter, but are there three non-collinear points? Are A, B, and C collinear? What would make them collinear? If they were all in a straight line. They're not, right? So we have three non-collinear points, so we can name the plane. We could call it plane ABC. You could also call it plane ACB or plane BAC, and so on. Any order of those three letters. Okay? Now, what I'm going to let you do is because most of this is just vocabulary, and I need you to just do the practice and have problems with it and ask me questions, okay? So for the rest of class, what I'm going to do is just give you the homework and let you work on the homework and ask me questions when you get stuck, okay? So let me give you the homework. We just covered two sections, by the way. 1-1 and 1-2. So from 1-1, the homework starts on page 9. I want you to do numbers 11 through 35 odd for 1-2, which is on page 16 and 17. I want you to do, thank you. Should come back. I want you to do 19 through 47 odd. And we're going to have a quiz on 1-1 and 1-2 on Wednesday. Okay, do y'all have your planners yet? No, actually, you're supposed to get them in homerooms. What now? Okay? All right, so y'all start working on that, and I'll answer any questions you have. Yes. If you finish today, you can turn it in. If y'all, do y'all have a study hall? Okay. Okay. If you work, if you have free time today or something and you get finished, you probably won't finish it before class is over. But if you finish it sometime today, all you have to do is this file thing back here. First period is the top drawer, and you can just turn it in there, okay? Otherwise, you can just bring it with you to class tomorrow. But it is due tomorrow.